I got autism. Yeah, I had no idea on how to start this one out other than just tossing it out and continuing with that tangent. It's a very personal topic I had so much trouble with. Not in the sense that it did bad stuff, rather with how I wanted to approach it. See, in one hand, there's people I know who want to govern my brain for me, and in the other is people telling me to do as I wish. And admittedly, nobody knows you better than yourself. I already figured and decided that I wanted to make this video because intuitively, I just knew so. I've always been someone who struggled with reasoning and analytical knowledge, and when I have this conversation with myself, it all just seemed right. My brain just knew it, I knew it. But I didn't have to explain and justify myself on why I should make this video. I have never mentioned my neurodivergency except maybe once, in the first furry fandom video. But even then I kept it vague and felt like I was a bit too bashing with it. I didn't exactly have easy access to mental health resources, but recently I went to a psychiatrist to get my main issue, that being ADHD, treated. You see, I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 10 years old in 2013, and it's an arduous journey. But basically I always struggled with keeping routines and other things. Content creation is something I'd love to do, among other things. So many others that I wish to dabble in, but really struggle to find the drive and motivation to do so. But now in 2025, I had the ability to do so, and I recalled in 2023 that the psychiatrist said to me that he was interested in seeing if I was in the autism spectrum. That stuck out to me, and I always had a growing belief that I was in the spectrum, or something. See, I would try to doze off and go to sleep, and suddenly my brain goes, "Hey, remember that time from 2011? That was the autism." And then my eyes shoot open, and I go, "Holy shit, I always had autism." Okay, here's one that sticks out to me. In second grade during recess, there was this third grade kid and his friends and his little sister. I had not known about this at the time, but bear with me. So the little girl hits the kid and the kid exaggerates his pain, he falls and he cries, and the girl just keeps kicking him and stuff. So I donned my badge of justice, marched towards them, and slapped the girl at Mach 3. The girl cries and the kids, they stare at me and stuff, and I'm like, "Why you bullying me? I'm right." Yeah, then I realized 15 years later that was his little sister play fighting with him, and I slapped her, refused to elaborate, and just left. Yeah, it's moments like these, as well as others, that made me realize I was autistic all along. Or in 10th grade, when the class clown asked me if I had autism, and bear in mind, I was 16 at the time, and I was teenage angst Barty, I took it as an insult and went, "Autism? No." See, around that time, my knowledge of autism was 2017 meme hindsight. You know, memes like this, or even this. Doesn't help that we had in the same school a kid with what many would describe at the time as low-functioning autism. Now, this term is a tad bit outdated, and I'll touch on that soon, but the kid would sit alone, hate talking to anyone that isn't a teacher or a member of faculty, and I, at 16 years old, ironically enough with autism, thought that that was what autism was, and never the thought ever crossed my mind. Around my whole life, I had labels and narrow-minded shit tossed at me, that I'm dumb, slow, stupid, that I'll never make it out, or never go to college, or achieve any of my dreams, or ever drive a car. All because I struggled and still struggle with math. I tend to have tics and stims, and I tend to have strange interests, obsessions, and fears. That I don't get good numbers on a piece of paper worth 40% of my grades, and instead happen to yap for hours intricately about specific things like the Super Cop glitch in Vice City, or how the Left 4 Dead director AI works. Or because I hold a pencil in a weird way and have strange handwriting. And I basically let those shitty beliefs get to me. I thought to myself that, oh, I'm bad at math because I convinced myself that I'm bad at math. And it all dragged me down. I wasn't good at memorizing dumb poetry from a guy who died like 70 years ago, and I wasn't good with making a 10-page essay about the cultural significance of hallway linoleum flooring sheets. I wasn't good with whatever the hell this is, and to this very day, I don't know what the hell a Pythagorean theorem is. All I know is obtuse and hypotenuse, courtesy of my hyperfixation with random Family Guy jokes. In 2019, we had a plane trip, and the kid behind me was kicking the seat and loudly singing some stupid Cocomelon song or some shit. And around that time, I was already stressed out as is, because we had so much trips, it was hot as high hell, and some annoying kid kicking my seat wasn't something I wanted to deal with. The whole time I had the private pile stare. I thought I was just being dramatic. I wanted to yell and tell the child to just shut up. But around that time, I was told to, quote-unquote, act my age. Yeah, do you expect a 17-year-old autism or no autism to act fully reasonable? You want composure from a whiny teenager in sensory hell and going through puberty angst? I've had the tendency to bottle up my anger because of this. Frustration, sadness, everything, and tend to get very explosive about it when I let it out. But then I didn't know I was autistic, so I kept blaming myself, like, why can't I just deal with this like everyone else? Why can't I just ignore it? But everyone else was not experiencing the same sensory hell as I was. But like I said earlier, I was diagnosed with ADHD. I was 10 years old and retroactively had ADHD and autism. Though I didn't understand what ADHD was, I just remember a psychiatrist asking me what my interests were, like animation, games, and art, and my mom giving me medication and supplements. And things just kind of fell apart from that point. I'm not sure what even happened after 2013, but we stopped going to the doctor. I didn't question it back then. The years passed, and I'd just bring it up sometimes, like, what about my ADHD? But my parents would subtly brush it off. Bigger things were going on, like my mom tearing her ACL, and my dad's leukemia relapsing. And as early as mid-2020, I started wondering if I was on the autism spectrum. A friend of mine said that I behave and speak like her brother, who was diagnosed with ASD, and from then I just thought about it, and, well, that all made sense. Jump ahead 2 years to late 2022. I saw a psychiatrist and one I'd previously gone to in 2018 for depression. He was the only one available in my area for diagnosis and treatment, and I came to him hoping for answers, but instead he told me, and I quote, "You don't look autistic or have ADHD." See, instead of listening, he brought up my visit from 4 years ago and badgered me about it. He didn't give me space to think or explain myself. It felt less like an evaluation and more about his fucking agenda. So I moved on. January 2023, I saw another psychiatrist, and this genius prescribed me Abilify, an antipsychotic medicine for schizophrenia. See, I hadn't had any real ADHD treatment in over a decade at that point, and out of naivety, I just took it. And for 2 days, it worked. My focus was sharp. I got things done. I thought I was finally getting somewhere. Then the side effects kicked in. The next month was absolute hell. I was hamstrung. I was constantly tired and unmotivated to do anything. I developed akathisia, this painful restlessness that makes you feel like you have to move, and it really hurts, like mentally, I mean. I would get up, walk, but suddenly need to fall down and kick my legs and flex my arms. Every time I did do that, the lethargy hit me like a brick. I'd walk around only to be tired moments later. But when I tried to rest, the akathisia kept me from relaxing. It's like an itch that keeps itching very hard constantly, and there is no way to scratch it. My anxiety, paranoia, and doubts for some reason all got worse. Even just thinking about working hard became mentally paralyzing. I was physically exhausted and emotionally drained. But luckily I survived that hell, and after on and off failed treatments and self-help, here in big 2025, I finally got the help I need. And I had dealt with bullshit skepticism, like the doctor I talked about earlier, who said that I don't look autistic. Then there is a Sigma male, Andrew Tate, morons online telling me, "Oh, trust me bro, big pharma, woke virus, medication bad." And that I only need to diet and exercise, which, surprise surprise smartass, I already do diet and exercise, and that helps in some ways, but doesn't magically cure or treat mental disorders like ADHD or ASD. Depression? Yeah, maybe, but it's not panacea. From people who desperately want to convince me that ADHD medication is going to control my mind or change me or turn me into a drone, idiots who gatekeep and say that I'm not neurodivergent, that I don't have autism, that I'm just a whiny complainer who hates loud noises and repetitive sounds and doesn't like having a sudden change in his routine because he's selfish and wants the whole world to revolve around him, that I'm not autistic because I'm not like your 3-year-old nephew, that just because I can communicate well and make eye contact and can mask pretty well, boom, I don't get to say I'm autistic. I'm not really autistic. Oh, that's okay. My personalized, specific issue that pertains to my autism that happens to overlap with the neurotypical thing that the average person can struggle with is not valid because, oh, everyone deals with it. Okay, what about this zinger? Everyone is a little autistic. Anyway, tangents aside. Another experience where I was called or made to think that I'm dumb when I had a different idea was in 2nd grade. The art teacher got mad and ripped pages off my sketchbook because I drew letters of the alphabet on separate pages instead of the same page. It didn't really occur to me that I had to draw A, B, and C small on one page. I drew the 3 letters very big on each page, and she had to crash out and called me stupid and tore pages off my sketchbook. And unfortunately, to be transparent with you, I went through abuse. Verbal, mental, and, well, physical even, throughout my childhood and teens and a bit of my early adulthood. I was repeatedly told and asserted that I was going to be a failure, that no college would accept me, that I would never make it beyond my town's borders. My dreams were called worthless or unrealistic just because they were not familiar to others. I was constantly told what to do by people who always said, "Take it from me," while pushing advice that served their agenda and not mine. I was held back from so many things, screwed out of so many opportunities that should have been mine. And I spent years spinning in circles, until I finally found direction on my own in adulthood, at almost 23 years old. All because ignorant bastards thought they were saving me when really they just couldn't see beyond their narrow sightline. Every time I tried to do something, they argued, judged, and criticized instead of listening or nurturing. When I said I might be autistic and pointed to real symptoms and experiences, they called me stupid, obsessive, or even a hypochondriac, that I had imposter syndrome. The signs were always there. My dyscalculia, my unusual grip on a pen, my struggles with patience and focus. I was a late bloomer to a lot of things, and I went through a lot of hell for it in a climate that had no place for someone like me and probably still doesn't. I was the fat, weird kid in glasses. I didn't have many friends in school, not because I was silent or shy, but because I had dorky interests and hobbies that were unusual to them. Most people who talked to me did it to prank me or use me for help with exams or other shit. The few who did give me a real chance were amazing, and I still remember them. But even that doesn't erase the abuse and bullshit that I had to survive. I always had symptoms. Some nuanced, some obvious. I struggled with understanding sarcasm when I was young. I disliked bright white lights, and still do actually. I prefer dim yellow lights, or mood lights. I tick and stim a lot. From ticks where I flex or jerk my head and arms, to stims, mostly vocal stims. But also I tend to fidget with stuff, or just say random quotes. I do have hyperfixations, yes. Some permanent, as in, I will have them on a regular basis. And some just last for a little bit and then disappear. I hate repetitive noises and sounds, like construction workers in the distance, or gardeners, or even the faucet leak in water. I hate it when people touch me, and plenty others. But I take a look back and see the abuse that I went through. I was always terrible with math, like I said earlier. And I will live my life amazingly and achieve great things. I know and I will. All that with knowledge and pride that I'm bad at math. I see the moments where I felt like crying because everyone got good grades in school, and I didn't know what the hell to do because I got terrible grades. I see the moments where I was overwhelmed as a child and didn't have my parents around and it felt like the end. I see the bullying because I was different, the abuse, all because I couldn't memorize some stupid poetry, the mental purgatory I was in, being told that I'm just childish and dumb and whiny and seeking attention and what have you, when I obviously had signs of untreated mental health problems that nobody had the patience and empathy to consider. And into my late teenage years and leading to my early adulthood, I was always pulled and tugged by things and people, making me envy and jealous of surface level shit that doesn't matter, and I fell into it. I did stupid shit because I became nihilistic at times and even immature. And it's all because of misinformed, ignorant, narrow-minded, and stupid people who hold their stupid traditions and telling you to suck it up and man up, or go to the conspiracy and claim that autism is caused by vaccines, and autism can't be cured, or gatekeeping autism and mental health because you don't fit their short-sighted beliefs and thoughts. And what RFK Jr. said is terrible, that people like us, and I quote, will never pay taxes, never hold a job, never play basketball, write a poem, and never go on dates, is misinformed hot garbage. And the whole testing to determine the cause of autism by September sounds trashy when it's coming from their kind, and downplays how autism really works. Earlier I mentioned, quote-unquote, low-functioning autism, and said I'll talk on it later. These labels, despite being popularly used, are outdated terms, and autism is not a disease. Autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder. And autism is not a box or a scale. It's a complex and nuanced spectrum. No two people are the same. Some people struggle with communicating more than others. Some could be nonverbal and only speak to certain people, or only speak in certain places. Some could have strict schedules and routines, and disruptions or changes of plans could throw them off. Some could stim more visibly and avoid eye contact, but mask, which is acting quote-unquote normal, and would hold their stims and force themselves to do eye contact. Some can mask for longer periods and unmask normally. Some struggle with masking, and when they have space to unmask, they will be burned out, tired, and not wanting to speak, We're not rude for not making eye contact, and yes, we can hear you despite not facing you or looking at you. Our understanding of autism currently, despite being much better in many ways than it was in the 2000s, likely might change in the future. We need people to be open-minded about autism. It's not a punchline, it's not a character quirk, and it's not something you can just cure by using horse dewormer or whatever new wave right-wing hippie conspiracy shit people believe in. And to value our worth by reading stupid poems or playing baseball is pretty fucking stupid. You wanna help us autistic people? Start by shutting up and listening to us instead of trying to fix what isn't broken. Yet despite all that, I'm still here. I'm still alive and kicking. I was getting by, and now I'm processing it. I recognize it all now. And now I'm finding my true self. I was never broken, I was just misunderstood all along. And now it's a testament to how far I've come and survived. And only now I fought for myself, for my mental health, and I don't owe people a damn thing. I still struggle with things I deal with in my life, some in regards to autism, some in regards to ADHD, and some not. But even then, I feel at peace, with more clarity about myself and what's around me. I'm by no means perfect or fully mature now. I'm still growing and learning, just much better than I was a year ago. But now, I find my spot among YouTubers who are neurodivergent. I'm not famous right now, but Future Legend sounds pretty good to me. And you, viewer, I encourage you, whether you have autism or any other mental disorder, hell, even if you don't, to share your struggles if you're comfortable with it. Because just being heard is the first step toward healing. You're not alone in this, even when it feels like it. And thank you so much for watching this video, viewer. Hope you like it. This is Barty, and I'll see you later. Peace.